everyone, welcome to Wingman Aviation. I'm Bobby Loomis. Today we're going to be talking about engine preheaters. Over this last winter, I got flooded with phone calls from you guys with all the same complaints. I've had my engine preheater plugged in for 3-4 hours and my oil temperature is not showing that the oil is getting hot. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how the oil system flows and why your engine preheater is not heating your oil when you flip on that master switch. Take a look at your engine data and see that your oil temp is still cold. Let's get started. Here we have a 6-cylinder Continental with a front-mounted oil cooler. So the reason why that you are not seeing your oil temperature increase when you've had your engine preheater on for hours is the difference between the location of the heating element for the oil pan versus the location of the oil temperature probe. So let's take a look at the bottom of the oil pan. Here's the heating element that's heating your oil. Now on this Continental with the front mounted oil cooler, the factory oil temperature probe location is underneath the oil cooler. So we have a long distance between the oil getting heated and the location of the oil temperature probe. So that difference is why you are not seeing your oil temperature increase when you flip on the master and look at your engine monitor, expecting to see hot oil. Now the same is true with this 6-cylinder Continental with a rear-mounted oil cooler. The factory oil temperature probe location is underneath the oil cooler, which is a long way off from the bottom of the oil pan where the heating element is for your engine preheater. So here's what we're going to do. I disconnected that oil temperature probe, the factory location. I installed another oil temp probe in the oil pan. So we're going to turn on the Tannis heater for a few hours and let's see how hot that Tannis can actually get the oil. So we'll take a look. Right now we're in mid-June and it's 75 degrees in the hangar. That engine is not run today. So here we have all the cylinder head temps, mid-70s, and the oil temperature is reading 73. So let's run it for a few hours, plug in the Tannis, and we'll see what the oil temp actually reads. Okay, we have the temporary oil temperature probe hooked up. The Tannis heater has been on for an hour and a half. And let's see what the oil temperature is reading. So oil temperature is reading 100 degrees and the CHTs are approaching 110. So that seems to be accurate with an oil temperature probe directly submerged in the oil. So 9 times out of 10, your engine preheater is heating your engine oil. You're just not seeing it right away because of the location of your oil temperature probe. Let me talk to you about one problem that I came across, and it was a result of an installation error of where they located the heating element for the oil pan, and this is specific to angle head Lycoming engines. Here we have a Lycoming 390 angle valves. So this is also true with the 390 and the 360 angle heads. The oil pan does multiple things. It's also the induction plenum. So the 4-cylinder intake tubes come into the bottom of the oil sump, and the oil pan itself is actually higher up. So if you install an engine heating elements on the bottom of the oil pan, these are not going to heat your oil because the bottom of this sump is the intake plenum. It's not the oil pan. So up here, a little higher, is the chamber where the oil is actually being held. And so the heating elements have been moved up higher on the angle head sump. Down low is not the oil pan. Up high is where the oil is actually being held. So with all the phone calls I got this last winter with everyone having their engine preheater not heating their engine oil, there is one interesting phone call that I got where the aircraft owner was having the exact opposite problem. And this relates to the Twin Hornet engine heater that you lay on top of the engine and it blows hot air in the engine bay. So he was showing hot oil temperature with the Twin Hornet engine heater, and when he started the engine, the oil temperature would dramatically decrease. So let me show you an example of why that was happening. Okay, this is not the aircraft or specific engine that the customer had, but it is a Lycoming engine, and the concept is the same. So that customer had the Twin Hornet engine heater coming through the nose and resting on top of the engine. As it's blowing hot air in the engine bay, on the Lycoming, the oil temperature probe is on top of the engine case right here. So the hot air was coming over and actually heating up the oil temperature probe, and it was registering. So when he would flip on the master switch, he would see hot oil temp caused by the air. And when he would start the engine, the cold oil on the oil pan would flow up, make contact with the probe, and he would see the temperature dramatically decrease. So he wasn't having an issue. It's just a problem with the location of the oil temperature probe versus what type of engine heater he had. No heating elements on the bottom of the oil pan, just reliant on the hot air circulating in the engine bay. There were also a few phone calls of pilots reporting after engine start, they watch their oil temperature increase as they taxi out, get to the run-up area. Oil temperature is showing 140, 150, 160 degrees, and then they see their oil temperature take a dive and then start to come back up again. They had a blip in the oil temperature. So let's talk about what causes that. So when the engine starts, oil starts flowing, oil starts getting warm, you taxi out, you get to your run-up area, you're watching the oil temperature increase, and then you see it decrease, and then you see it increase again. You just had a dip in your oil temperature. Here's what's going on. So on most of these engines, they have an oil temperature control valve, aka the vernotherm, and on this engine, it's right here. It acts just like the thermostat in your car. As oil flows into the cooler, it holds in the oil cooler and does not come out of the oil cooler until, let's see, this one is 77 degrees Celsius. So this will open up at around 170 degrees Fahrenheit and then starts letting oil flow through your cooler. So because of this oil temperature probe is over here by the oil cooler, as oil temperature gets to 150, 160, and then this thing opens up and starts letting oil get cooled down, the temperature probe sees that, and you'll see a drop in temperature. And then as the entire oil system heats up, you see the temperature come back up. So that's why you guys are seeing that dip in oil temperature before you take off. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch this video. If you have a problem with your engine preheater or you have any questions you'd like to ask me, send me an email at info@wingmanaviation.net. And until next time, we'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.